Bitcoin is becoming a bigger part of our economy, but did you know that it's also becoming a bigger part of our legal system? I'm Annie Amson, and this is Law You Can Use. Hello, and welcome to the Ohio State Bar Association's Law You Can Use, where we answer commonly asked questions about many different legal topics. Today we're talking about Bitcoin, and joining me is attorney Robert Ellis. He is a partner at Hennis, Rothstein Ellis here in Columbus, and he practices in internet and technology law, business and corporate law, virtual currency transactions, and online security. Thank you so much for being here.
Glad to be here.
So let's jump right in and get to the topic that everybody has been talking about lately, and the question that everyone has been asking: what exactly is Bitcoin?
Bitcoin is a set of numbers in cyberspace that are encrypted and that have no correspondence with anything physical. It's simply an algorithm and a public ledger representation of numbers. Mm-hmm. What Bitcoin was intended to be was a secure public medium of exchange. It wasn't necessarily intended to replace hard currency. It was kind of an interesting feature of it that you could exchange Bitcoin for hard currency if you want. But the essence of Bitcoin as a system is that it is a secure medium of transfer. And by that I mean it is a way of me having a specific number, like on a calculator. And if I want to give you some of the amount I have on my calculator, and you're on the other side of the world, it's a way that I can do that securely, encrypted, without an intermediary. And that's the important thing, without a trusted intermediary, because until now, until Bitcoin and virtual currencies came along, there always had to be a trusted third party, a bank, and some sort of exchange central where money was exchanged. The invention of Bitcoin and the blockchain, which is what the ledger is called, the public ledger, it's based on encryption, and it means that only I control my account, and only I can control what comes out of my account and goes to yours. But there can, because of encryption and because of the blockchain, which is a way of confirming the transaction through multiple computers scattered around the world, that's how transactions can occur securely. So if I want to transfer my numbers to your calculator, there are a bunch of computers in between that will confirm that, and only when a whole bunch of them actually confirm it, not just one, but a whole bunch of them come to the same result, my numbers get transferred to your calculator.
Mm-hmm. And that process is called mining?
No, that process is called the blockchain transaction. Mm-hmm. Now, what you spoke about with mining, mining is a cute little term that means a reward for all those computers out there that check and confirm my transaction to your calculator. Well, because there are so many different computers out there that are just, anybody can do it. I can set up my own computer and say, yeah, I'll be a member of this consortium of voluntary computer operators that confirm these blockchain transactions. Mm-hmm. But what's in it for me? Well, what's in it for me is a little tiny bit of a reward. So if I go online and have the software that says, yes, I can do Bitcoin transactions, I can confirm these transfers from one person to the other of these numbers securely, and I can help confirm that. If I do that, and if I do it repeatedly, and if I solve a little algorithm to prove that my computer can do that, then the Bitcoin system, the algorithm, rewards my computer by giving me a little bit of that number. So instead of transferring 1.000 Bitcoins to you, it might transfer that, but then the Bitcoin system will issue an additional amount of money, like printing money. It will issue me an additional 0.0001 Bitcoins. So I get a little bit of a reward to do that. Mm-hmm. And part of the built-in trick of the system is there's a finite supply of Bitcoin. It's the way that the thing is designed. There's 21 million Bitcoins that can be issued ever. And so as the number approaches that maximum, it's harder to get a little bit of a reward from this mining, from transaction confirmation. So initially, when Bitcoin was first started, there were very few transactions. It was really easy to mine Bitcoin. In fact, here is an example. This is a little USB drive, and this is a Bitcoin miner. Mm-hmm. And back in the early days, you could plug this into your computer, and just a laptop could mine Bitcoin. You could actually get a few Bitcoin. This thing, you'd have to run probably a few thousand years to get anything worthwhile now. Because as Bitcoin transactions have increased exponentially, so has the computing power that's necessary to confirm them in the blockchain. And that's why you hear these stories of botnets and unsavory operators out there trying to hijack other people's computers to get millions of computers online to help them confirm the transactions and therefore mine Bitcoin, getting the reward.
Let's talk about some of the other risks associated with Bitcoin. It's an unregulated currency.
It's not really a currency, but it's an unregulated, let's call it virtual currency.
An unregulated virtual currency, but it's not backed by any nation like
That's
we're
correct.
used to with our US dollar.
There's no money supply regulator, there's no sovereign, there's no deposit insurance, nothing like that. Right?
And what are some of the risks associated with a system that's built like that?
If you forget your password and you have $3 million worth of Bitcoin, too bad, you just lost your $3 million. There's no undo function. In a Bitcoin transaction, it's based on cryptography, it's based on online passwords and encryption, and so if you forget your password, just like there's no trusted third party to do transactions from one point to another, there's no trusted third party to insure you, there's no trusted third party to refund your money, there's no trusted third party to undo. And anybody that has your password can get all your Bitcoin. And because it's anonymous, there's no correspondence between a Bitcoin account and a named person. Because of this anonymity, there's no way to figure out who would have stolen your Bitcoin.
And speaking of the anonymity associated with Bitcoin, our U.S. Treasury Secretary recently called Bitcoin the next Swiss bank account. Why is this of concern, legally speaking?
Well, it's not the next Swiss bank account. It's always been anonymous. I mean, first of all, Swiss bank accounts are not as anonymous as they used to be. Swiss bank accounts are run by trusted third parties, banks. If a transaction is done a mistake, the bank is responsible for it. People's Swiss bank accounts don't get emptied out if they forget their passwords. So I think what he was talking about is that it's a way of hiding money. But as you know, at the time we're recording this, Bitcoin has been spiking and going down, up, and a lot of people have gotten really rich off of Bitcoin because of the speculative nature of their investment. But you could liken it to a Ponzi scheme, but it's not in the sense that there's nobody running it. There's nobody claiming you're going to get huge rewards if you just buy my Ponzi scheme here. It's simply pure speculation. And everybody knows that Bitcoin has nothing of value like gold associated with it. And so therefore, if you lose your Bitcoin because of a drop in market value, it's expected. You know that it's just, Bitcoin has the value that people assign to it. And yes, it's sort of like a Swiss bank account in that it's anonymous, but you can't hide $1 million worth of Bitcoin and then suddenly be rich off of that. You have to trade Bitcoin for something, just like regular money. Either you have to exchange it for gold or diamonds or something that someone will trade Bitcoin for, or you have to trade it for dollars or some hard currency. So, and that's why the IRS doesn't tax Bitcoin. IRS considers Bitcoin to be property. It's not. It's intangible property, right? And so, until you trade it for something tangible or for money, it's not taxable. So, in that sense, it's not like a Swiss bank account. It is an excellent, secure medium of exchange, but it is an absolutely terrible repository of value because of this thread of insecurity that every Bitcoin account has. It's just hanging on this little password thread, and if you forget that, then too bad.
Are there circumstances under which I should consult an attorney?
If you are bringing a large amount of money in that you've exchanged overseas, yes. It would probably be a good idea to consult an attorney. As to whether you want to make any reports, sometimes it's good to report in advance to FinCEN what you're going to do. So, yeah, if you're going to bring in a large amount of money, but the fact is, you want to do that even if your transaction doesn't involve Bitcoin. If you want to bring in $1 million in cash from overseas, yeah, you want to consult an attorney to make sure that it doesn't get confiscated or they don't suspect you of something.
All right. Well, thank you so much for answering some of our questions about Bitcoin.
I hope it helped.
If you have questions about any topic relating to the law, follow the Ohio State Bar Association on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and use the hashtag lawyoucanuse to write to us. And to read more about Bitcoin and over 600 other legal topics, go to ohiobar.org/lawyoucanuse. Thanks for joining us.